Fabulous. Just brilliant. That was Charles Moothart and the Fast Band and the Fire I Call Home. So, Charles, welcome back to the programme.
Thank you for having me back.
A real pleasure. And so we do go back quite a way. So we were talking about it before. I think it might be 2012, the first time that you came in with Ty Segall.
Yeah, so crazy.
And you've been in with the Freedom Band a couple of times, and also Fuzz, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later on. But before all of that, would you like to introduce your bandmates, please?
Yeah, absolutely. We got Paco Casanova on keys, John Modoff on drums,
Hello.
Corey Madden on bass,
Hello.
Shelby Jacobson on guitar.
And a fabulous band they are too. And so you're a few dates into the UK tour, aren't you?
Yeah, four dates in.
How's it going?
It's been good, man. Yeah, we're out here just trying to do it right, spread the word and put on good shows. We're having fun.
Is this part and parcel of a wider European thing?
Is it what?
Are you going over to Europe as well, to the mainland?
It's mostly UK, but we do 5 shows in Europe. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
nine in UK and 5 in Europe.
Okay, yeah. Excellent stuff. Okay, so the album is called Chaotic Shimmer.
Yeah.
To what does that refer?
I don't know. I think it was just kind of a state of, like, to me it just kind of invokes like a state of meditative, chaotic creativity and the state of, the modern world that is kind of terrifying,
Right, okay. Am I right in saying that you live in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And so did you get embroiled? Did you have any kind of bad experiences with the fire?
So luckily I was okay, but I have, we all have friends and stuff that lost homes and all that. But it was crazy, there's like, it was an apocalyptic feeling. But I'm lucky to say that, my spot was cool, my apartment was okay, and all my stuff's all good.
Okay, yeah, because I did hear just last week, actually, about somebody that I know in Los Angeles who lost a studio and the livelihood and everything, just so terrible,
so brutal, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so you just listening to the album, there's the usual kind of what you would expect from Charles Moothart in there, the heavier stuff. But there's also some kind of more, even perhaps go so far as to say Americana in there. Reminded me a little bit of maybe Ry Cooder, and I know that you mentioned also J.J. Cale.
Yeah. I mean, I love J.J. Cale, but, so that's kind of just like an easy pull. I would never try to like really compare my music to him, but it's just that's like a huge influence for me, for sure.
Right, okay. So what music did you grow up listening to? Because you're a multi-instrumentalist, and again, we'll get to that in a moment. But what was it that kind of triggered you off in the first place?
I think, more like getting into high school, getting into like, punk music, that was kind of the biggest one that kind of kicked it off for me, wanting to like play in a band and all that stuff. And I don't know, whatever. I was lucky. My folks, they had pretty good taste in music. My dad was like a big Black Sabbath fan, and early on he turned me on to Black Sabbath. My mom loved The Who, so I feel like I was pretty lucky with them, turning me on to good stuff at a young age. But it was definitely punk music that made me want to go like on tour, or, just like play weird music with my buddies. Right, okay. I mean, I
bet your dad loves the Fuzz records, doesn't he?
He's down. Yeah,
I'm sure he loves them all, but the
Black
Sabbath kind of.
No, he enjoys the Fuzz records for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I know that you did form your first band when you were really young with your schoolmates, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I started trying to write songs when I was like 12 or something. You know what I mean? But yeah, when I was 14 is when I started playing drums in a band that would like drive up to LA and play this spot called The Smell. That was like a DIY spot, and just trying to like make the thing happen. Went on tour with Ty for the first time in our band in Epsilon's like 16 or whatever. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. And so you mentioned that, I know you play drums anyway, but so was that your first chosen instrument?
No, guitar was definitely my first instrument. And then I played bass out of necessity because that band I was just talking about, Epsilon's, needed a bass player. And then drums was more just like, I just really wanted to play drums. And it was my girlfriend at the time in high school. We were, 14, and she played keyboard and my friend played guitar, and we just started a band. And that was how I learned drums. I don't know. But guitar was the first one, for
right,
sure.
Okay. And I saw an interview with you, actually, where you stated that you never really were that sure that you'd be able to make a living out of music.
Yeah.
And that you considered at one point being an English teacher.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of what I thought I would do all through high school, and kind of like after high school, that was what I if I was gonna like imagine some fictional version of my life, that was it. You know. I don't know. I still think about like teaching in some capacity. I don't really know. I don't really know what the future holds. The world's pretty strange.
Sure. And at what point did you realise it was kind of the epiphany where you think, actually, hang on, I might not be a teacher. Maybe I'll just be able to do this. Was it working with anybody else particular?
I mean, Ty. Working with Ty, of course. I mean, early on, even when we were teenagers, like I saw something in him and we saw something in each other. We both saw something that was like this drive that we didn't really see with anybody else. Yeah.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah. And then, watching him kind of go off and do his thing and start to build up his name. And then when he asked me to join his band, like that was kind of just like, I was 20, I think, when I joined his band. So yeah, I mean, that was just kind of like watching him establish himself is what made me go like, oh, whoa, we know people that can do this, or like we can go on tour and actually have a guarantee,
It's like a template of what you could do for the future.
I mean, I think, obviously Dwyer was like a big influence on that time period, I think he set up a big infrastructure for someone like Ty to like figure it out,
You're talking about John Dwyer of OCs, of course, aren't you? Yeah. Who has been so influential.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
He's a force of nature.
Force, yeah.
You were both going to say the same thing, weren't we?
But I mean, there's only one word. Yeah.
Completely. And also, he is one of the great guitarists, I think. But he never gets a nod, really, when people talk about great players.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that he deserves a lot of credit. And I think that people who are people obviously worship the OCs, which is awesome and well deserved. But yeah, I mean, he's an incredible he's an incredible musician. I've actually seen him. He's a really good drummer too, which is I kind of think like an unknown, like a lesser known thing. But I've seen him play drums, and it's pretty impressive.
Well, we've been talking about House of All, and at one point on the show that they're doing on the current tour, they have 3 drummers, all ex-Fall drummers. And I once saw OCs where they had the 2 drummers, and of course Mike Schoon was opening for them with pieces, and he brought his drum kit on at the end, and they had amazing. 3 of them. If you can imagine, it was just bamboozling.
Yeah. That's wild.
It is. So you are touring. Some of these dates are with Mr. Strange, which features Thomas from our mate from Fruit Tones, who they've done a couple of sessions for us, and also the opening jingle for the programme every night.
Incredible.
So hello, mate. And so you are playing, what date are we today? The 24th. So tomorrow then you're playing Leeds, the Lending Room. The following night, Bristol, the Lanes. 27th, you play the Shacklewell Arms in London. And the 28th, you play the Hope and Ruin in Brighton. Fabulous. Okay, Charles. Well, you're all sounding so brilliant. Would you like to do 2 more songs for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what are these and in what order?
What are we doing? We're doing the song Chaotic Shimmer from the EP we were just talking about, and we're going to go into Lethal Look, which is from a couple records ago, Dichotomy Desaturated.
Great.